welcome to Smart Recovery and Empowerment Talks. I am Jasmine with Smart Recovery, and here at Smart, we are all about self-empowerment and finding the power within ourselves to make changes in our lives. To highlight this, we're having empowerment talks each month with members of our community to just highlight these areas of empowerment. Since March is Women's History Month, we're going to celebrate awesome women in recovery. We will spend time talking to these amazing women from all walks of life who are connected to smart recovery in different ways. I hope their stories of resilience and strength serve as inspiration to those that need it. And if you listen closely, you'll hear something you can relate to. Today, I'm happy to have Jodi join me. Thank you, Jodi, for joining me today. Please tell me a bit about your recovery journey and how you first found SMART.
Hi, Jazz. I am happy to be here. Well, I I have been drinking alcohol and smoking cigarettes for about 21 years after having gastric bypass surgery. And I got to the point where it was going to be a year ago on the 9th that I quit drinking. I got to the point where, thank you, I just was drinking and I was smoking cigarettes and I was using medical cannabis. And it got to the point where I just couldn't pay my bills anymore and sustain my habits. I was in debt and I was to the point where I was in jeopardy of not putting food on the table and not paying my utility bills. So I was like, this has just got to stop. So I didn't know what to do. I wanted to stop, but I wasn't sure what to do. I knew I needed support. And I had tried 12-step in the past and it just didn't resonate with me. So I did a Google search on alternatives to 12-step and I found SMART and I attended my first meeting with Alex C. So,
Okay,
yeah.
that's awesome. So you found that you utilized the program online. So you attended an online meeting.
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome. And shout out to Alexi. He's so
Yeah,
great, wonderful facilitator.
he is.
That's awesome. Well, I'm glad that you were able to find an alternative and that there was an alternative because there are multiple pathways to recovery. And I definitely hear you in your journey with just not being able to put food on table and paying bills and just like that financial hardship that we don't sometimes see, like what that addiction or that behavior does to us. So I'm so glad that you were able to find us and be here with me today. So in the spirit of our empowerment talks, could you explain what self-empowerment means to you personally?
Sure. Self-empowerment to me means making decisions that will bring me my best life. And I found in SMART the power of choice, and I can make these choices. I've made choice after choice after choice of things that are bringing me the life that I want to live. Like I've quit drinking, I've quit smoking cigarettes, I've quit using medical cannabis, I've quit caffeine, I've quit sugar, you know, like all of these things. And now I facilitate 2 meetings
Okay.
and I co-facilitate another meeting. I'm going back to school in the fall. Uh, so a lot of exciting things are happening. I'm going back to school to the University of Cincinnati to major in substance abuse counseling. So
That's amazing.
yeah, really exciting.
Congratulations.
Thank
And
you.
sugar? Oh my gosh. Like I need that. Wow. That's a lot. At once, did you do it all at once or was it something like I did this first and then I'm gonna and just kind of work your way through that or were you just
I
like,
worked my way through. I quit drinking alcohol on March 9th of 2023. Then a
okay.
month later, I quit smoking cigarettes. I started vaping actually after I quit smoking cigarettes. And
Mhm.
then I quit vaping 7, 8 weeks ago.
Okay.
And then I quit medical cannabis in June. And then like caffeine and sugar were kind of in there, but I'm not sure what exactly
Mhm.
when. Um, but yeah, so I'm like substance free now. The
That,
only thing I have is like just my medications that I take for my health. That's it.
yeah,
So,
that's amazing. That's strength right there. That's a lot. Um, so then that just kind of brings me to what is something that or what is something that you would have told yourself a year ago before starting this journey? Like, what advice would you give yourself about this journey that you were going to embark on over this past year?
I think I would tell myself that you're good enough and you can do hard things because I've done a lot of hard things this past year, gone through a lot of things. Like just because we're in recovery doesn't mean that life stops throwing you hard things.
Mhm.
So I've gone through a lot of hard things this past year, and I have grown in my recovery and I've grown in my self confidence and just into a person that I'm proud of being.
I love that. I think that's something that I really hope people take away is that you are good enough. And
Yeah.
I see that you loved yourself enough to give yourself this gift of
Yes.
a better life. And now you're going back to school. Like, how amazing is that? So, with all of these wonderful things that popped up for you during this time, um, but you also mentioned that like life will still keep happening, right? So what are some barriers or some hardships that you faced along the way in your recovery journey, and how did you overcome them?
That's a really good question. Um, when I started out, everything was kind of going okay, but in the summer, my son was going through some mental health challenges and was in the hospital, and that was very, very hard. He has some mental health issues, and um, so I was very like I wanted to just sink into depression and get like into myself and not do anything. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, with the support of the community, and we have a Discord server that I don't know if I'm allowed to say, but why am a moderator on, but with the support of my community that
Mhm.
I found in SMART and meetings and doing the tools, I was able to get through it, and he's doing much, much better now. And I also moved in October. That was stressful.
Mhm.
I almost lapsed on cannabis, but I did not. I used the tools and the support of my community to get through that. Um, so yeah, that I and right now I'm going through some stuff with my husband and I'm using tools to get through that. So using my tools, leaning on my community, finding strength in SMART. So
Wow, that's a lot, and especially when it's with family and everything. So I'm glad to hear that your son is doing better. And I'm glad that you were able to get a sense of community from SMART and lean on them during that time, as well as the tools. Were there any tools that were your top go to, your favorite tool?
yes, the ABC tool.
You're okay.
Yes,
You're an ABC girl.
I am. When I was about 4 months into recovery, I
Mhm.
started doing an ABC every day, and I did that for a month. So, like just on past things that had happened and current triggers, just anything, I did an ABC every day, and it solidified the ABC in my mind.
Mhm.
And people even come to me, like call me the ABC queen. And people come to me to help them do an ABC because it's like my go-to tool.
Wow. Every day for a month. That
Yeah.
is persistence right there. That's awesome. The ABC queen. So we'll have to, when we list this video, I'll put you as the Jodi ABC queen. We have to have your official title there. Well, thank you for sharing that. And just and then with the spirit of this being, for Women's Month, what do you think gets in the way of just women feeling empowered on their journey of recovery?
I think it has a lot to do with society and how society views women.
Mhm,
That women have to be a certain way. They have to be perfect, and they can't have flaws. And but you know what? We do have flaws, and we're not perfect, and we do struggle with things, and we have trauma, and things happen that we can't control, and we're left to deal with that. I have trauma in my own life. I had PTSD from the birth of my son. And so, having to deal with all that and navigating life, that's difficult. I think um, when women have trauma and fall into addiction, um, there's like a stigma around it. So I think you know, supporting women where they are and making resources available for women that maybe can't afford
mhm,
treatment programs, things like that, making it not normalized, but making it more available.
mhm,
Um, I think because like trauma is universal. I think everybody has some form of trauma, some level, some spectrum of trauma, and it leads us down the path of addiction sometimes. And I think as women, we just want to nurture everybody and take care of everybody else, but we need to take care of ourselves too. And so we need to put ourselves first sometimes.
Yeah. Wow. I think that that really did speak to me. I think that is something that I had dealt with some trauma during my pregnancy and after, and it's so hard to maintain your sobriety as well as what's going on with you while taking care of another human being that's exclusively dependent on you,
Right.
all hours of the day. So it's really hard to focus some of that energy on yourself, especially when you're just tapped out and tired. So I really appreciate you sharing that, like it is like it's okay to take a little time for ourselves and to work through things and um just yeah, and just bringing awareness to the fact that there are a lot of things going on and trauma and not a lot of resources or I don't think they're advertised very well either of resources, and sometimes it feels hard to find a sense of community. So, and in your case, I'm so glad that you were able to find a community here at Smart.
Yeah. It started out actually with the 24/7 chat. And then
Okay.
when they sunsetted that, a bunch of us moved to Discord, and I'm that's my community, the Discord community.
Well, I'm glad that you have a community. It's so important. It takes a village to just survive, honestly.
Yes.
And so, and with that being said, like, do you have any tips or just what are some ways that we can empower other women on their recovery just outside of, making sure that they know these resources? Are there things that we as women can do for others to kind of help uplift each other?
Yeah, I think so. Just being there for each other, supporting each other. Um, I would love to create so many things, but I would love to do more women's meetings, because in women's meetings, there's really like a sisterhood,
Mhm,
just of being there for each other. And I would say too, stressing self-compassion.
mhm,
Self-compassion is so important on this recovery journey. Just loving ourselves enough, and to stop blaming ourselves and stop beating ourselves up over our past. The past was the past, and it happened, and we can't change it, but we can love ourselves where we were because that person in the past didn't know the tools we know now. She was doing what she thought she needed to do to survive. And so I can look back because I have tools now and I'm living according to my values now. I can look back and have compassion on her. So, and I don't blame her. She made some choices that weren't the best, but she didn't know any better. So, but I'm living according to my values now. I'm living my best life now. I'm working toward living the life that I want to live. And yeah, just, you know, women coming together is so powerful.
Mhm. I absolutely agree. And I love the self-compassion. I think sometimes we forget that to to give ourselves some grace and to show some kindness to our former selves. If it wasn't for that former self, we wouldn't be who we are today.
Absolutely.
And you're right, like you didn't know any better. You didn't have those tools, but you have those tools now so we can honor that person almost and by doing better. And you're doing it right now. Like I'm just so excited to just hear of everything you've done and you're coming up on your anniversary. Today's the 5th. We
Yeah,
have
it'll
4
be
more
in 4
days.
days.
Yes, 4
Yeah.
more days. We have 1 whole year. That's amazing. And all the things that you have given up and when you've given up something, you've brought something else too. I mean, after a year, now you're the ABC queen. Like that's awesome. You have a whole new title and everything and in a year. And I'm just like amazed of that progress and the fact that you can give yourself compassion and speak on it and love that version of yourself. And I really love the version you are right now. I did not have the opportunity to meet you before, but I'm so glad that I have the opportunity to meet you now and see this version. And I hope,
Thank you.
yeah, I hope to get to see it continue to grow. Like, let's meet up again next year.
Yes, definitely.
We'll have an anniversary party.
Okay.
Oh, just, I think that you have definitely shared so much. And I think my biggest takeaway is that compassion. I love that. And I hope that others take away that as well. Do you have any final thoughts or anything else that you would just like to share for our smart community at all before we go?
Um, mm, SMART needs volunteers. Take the training, become a co-facilitator or facilitator. SMART needs volunteers. We need to get the word out. We need to get more meetings. So,
Absolutely. Well, and you're right. So anybody that is interested in starting a smart meeting, my email address will be below in the description box. So please send me an email and let's talk about how we can get you trained and get you going and join our smart community as a volunteer. So again, I just want to thank you so much for sharing your time and energy with me today, Jodi. And I hope you have a great rest of your day.
thank you. You too, Jazz. This was a pleasure. Thank you.